good. So queen g4 was good to take one piece, right? So
Yes.
okay, number one.
The fork.
Yeah, number one. What's your idea now? So you mean queen e1 to bring the queen to g4, right?
Yes.
Okay. And this plan is very good because you can make an attack. In a practical position, the question is, should I follow the usual plan, or maybe can I have something better in this specific position? In this case, I think you have a move that can help you to win material immediately, uh, and this mo-
Oh.
and
Okay.
and this move is knight h6,
Oh. Okay.
because this pawn on g7 is overloaded because this pawn must defend the knight and the pawn,
Oh yeah.
and the knight is defended only by the pawn. So if you take here, pawn takes, rook h f6.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Duh.
So yes, if you don't see this idea, queen e1 is okay because you follow the strategy that we said. But if you see a move like knight h6 is better because you win a pawn, and at the same
Uh-huh.
time you weaken his structure because his king after that would be the black structure will be weakened, and for sure white now is very good because you are up a pawn and with a good structure.
Okay. Yeah, I see that now. Makes sense.
Let's go to c number 2. Yes, knight g6 is very good now because you attack the rook.
And yeah, I saw the pin, so
Yes, because the
yeah.
the bishop can pin the pawn. Very good. And very nice you see that after rook e8, imagine if black plays rook e8, what do you play now?
Would you just take? You'd fork the rook and the king, right?
Yeah, it's true, but the main thing is not that. Because, okay, you're right, a fork is a good thing, but much better for you is when you have the checkmate, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, in this,
Yeah, duh. Okay. That is
so
checkmate.
yes, correct. Yes, because I guess that you didn't see the checkmate, but yes, there is the checkmate because the knight is scoring the square. So okay,
Yeah, okay.
maybe has to keep the rook on f8, but you can take the rook and you win 2 points. So it's good. Oh, now why do you play rook f6? What's your idea?
Um, say I did these like over a week ago. I'm trying to remember what I was thinking. Well, don't I? Oh, I guess I don't win any material, do I? I don't know what I was thinking.
Okay, we can think in this way. In all the exercise, we can have two topics.
Yeah.
One topic could be win material. Another
Yes.
topic could be make an attack the king, or play for the checkmate, for example. So we can have two ideas. Or you win material, or you play for the checkmate.
Yeah.
In this case, if you play rook f6, for sure, I don't think you will win material. But maybe after you take with the rook,
Yeah.
now the queen is under attack.
Yes.
So this queen has to go away. Let's say queen d7 to be safe.
Uh-huh.
And then you have check with the rook here, because now this king is too weak. So it's
Yeah.
and if we go ahead, I think we can see the checkmate like queen g5 check.
Yeah, and then king f8, and then checkmate.
With the
Well, rook h8, checkmate.
yeah, that's correct. So yes,
Yeah, I must have seen that, I think, but I might not even have seen that far. I figured if he retakes with the queen, you're up material, right? Like if well, if you attack his queen, he can't take it.
yeah, because okay, It try, but if it takes you up material, yes. So
Yeah. So I think that's what I saw, but I definitely I don't think I saw the checkmate. That's cool. I like yeah.
Okay, yeah. So in theory, we must see both the because if you don't have the checkmate, black will play queen d7.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
so this move rook f6 is good because or because you win material, or because you have a strong attack like checkmate idea. Because only in this way you can force him to take your rook. If you don't have the
Uh
checkmate, maybe black can go back, right? And you don't have
yeah.
maybe. Um, so it's very important to have the two ideas: win
Okay.
material and also checkmate possibilities. Or sometimes you don't have the checkmate, but you can win a lot of pawns. For example, in this case, the point is that you give 5. The value of the rook is 5
Uh-huh.
for 3 plus 1, so 4. If you are sure that you can take the pawn h,
Oh, yeah.
is
Yeah.
5 against 5, so it's equal material.
Yeah, okay.
So if you know that it's equal material, you can easily understand that white is much better now, because it's equal material, but with the black position very bad.
Yeah.
Black king is in trouble, so it's like that. We must think about the material, and at the same time we must think about the king position.
Okay.
And we must say how many material do I give to reach that position. If it's 10, I must pay attention, because if I give 10 points to reach this position, or I have the checkmate or I lose.
Yeah.
If I give 5, maybe something similar. But if I give only 1, maybe it's playable, because even if I don't have the checkmate, I sacrifice only 1 point.
Uh-huh.
In this case, you sacrifice 0, so 0, you can understand it is great for you, even if you
Yeah.
don't find a checkmate. Is it clear what I said, or maybe can you explain me
No,
this idea?
yeah, I think I see what you're saying. I mean, so you have to you want to calculate in terms of material whether you gain a better position. And
Yes, yeah. So
so
when you make an attack, you must think about how many material do you sacrifice to reach that position.
and what do you get out of it in
Yeah,
return?
yes, correct,
Yeah.
yes.
So in this case, his king's exposed, or his defense is compromised. So, but you also, I mean, I guess you have to see to really understand this position. You would have had to see the checkmate, right?
No, but what I'm saying is that if there is the checkmate,
Yeah,
you are completely sure that you are winning.
yeah. As long as your calculations right?
Yeah, yes. But
Yeah,
let's say you have this game and you don't see the checkmate. Okay, so
yeah,
let's say you're playing a real game and you're not sure about the checkmate, but you can calculate. Let's say that with your skills, you can calculate that after rook takes, pawn takes,
hmm
rook takes, you can
yeah,
win this pawn.
yes,
So it's like that you are able to. You don't see the checkmate, but you are able to calculate that after that you give knight, pawn, and pawn for the rook.
yeah.
In this
So
case,
yeah.
yes, tell me, sorry.
Oh, so it's an even exchange.
Yes, and
If you don't see the checkmate, it's only even.
yes, but even if you don't see the checkmate, you can understand that this trade is good for you, because about material is the same.
Yes.
But what do you gain at the end with this trade?
Well, you weaken his defenses, right?
Yeah, because his king will be without pawns, without defenders, and even if you don't see the checkmate, you can imagine, you can guess that this position is good for you,
Yeah.
because the
But
trade has same value, but this trade helps you to this trade helps you to destroy the enemy castle.
okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because it's a good logic to understand, because okay, if you see the checkmate, you have no problems, and you understand that you win. So, but the question is, if I don't see the checkmate, how can I understand if a trade can be good for me? And I can understand considering how many material do I sacrifice, and
Hmm.
uh, and what I take with this trade, for example, with this sacrifice that I do. In this case, the sacrifice is 0, because then I take the pawn. Okay, and
Hmm.
then there is the checkmate, but it's easy understand that this position is for sure very strong for white.
Yeah, with an well, if you expose your enemy king, that's really good for you, right? I mean,
yes, and then a position like that, even if you sacrifice a pawn, usually is good for you because it's a position which the king has now defenders, and if the king has position similar, I don't mean this. Okay, in this case there is the checkmate, but I mean in a similar position, also one pawn you can sacrifice to reach a position like that without big problems. If you sacrifice more material, you need a precise calculation. So let's say
yeah,
you sacrifice a rook to reach this position. If you sacrifice a rook, you must calculate a precise line in which then you have the checkmate, or you take more than a rook, for example.
yeah, okay,
So in general, we can say that more material you sacrifice, more precise must be your calculation.
okay, yeah.
Let's see number 4. Now you play knight takes e4, but I don't know because I can't take only 4.
Do I get a pawn out of it?
What do you play now?
Just queen takes or
Okay, imagine you take it with a queen.
okay.
Okay, but basically this pawn was a pawn up for black, and you can take this pawn is with a knight, is with a pawn. So in this position, if you take the pawn is okay, but the position after that will be equal because black now has 8 pawns against 7. So if you take back the pawn, you reach an
right.
equal position.
Oh, okay.
This exercise number 4 is very similar to exercise number 3.
Okay.
But there is a difference. So I mean, in this case, you have rook f6, and this attack in this way. In number 4, there is something different. Ways weaken the enemy castle.
Okay, so.
But it's a bit different. I'll show you why. Because you take the knight.
Yeah.
And now I have to take with the pawn. So you sacrifice 3. So you sacrifice 2 points because you give the rook for the knight.
And
in this case, you don't take the pawn with the rook.
Would you take? Well.
There is I want to explain a very nice principle, not easy to understand, maybe not so easy, but I think we can understand it. It's like that when you play a real game, and when you see a very weak pawn, or a pawn that you can take easily, a very good question is, imagine the best piece that must take that pawn. So for example, in this case, we can imagine it's better take it with the rook, or it's better take with the queen. But I don't mean only that. I mean, imagine the best piece that can take this pawn, even if this piece cannot take immediately. So at the moment, we can take only with the queen and the rook. But we can say, what's my dream? Which piece I like in the square?
Oh, wait. There's a fork, right, on the...
Potentially, on f6 there is a fork.
Can we get... I mean, so should we play knight takes e4?
Yes, correct.
And then threaten, okay. Yeah. And then he has to defend that, right? Or... well, he can't really defend it, though, can he?
e6.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Then you can takes. And then we can say, okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I want one pawn.
So all that work for...
yeah, so we are sure that white works. So because white is up a pawn, white is for h6, and the black king is bad. So it's clear now that this sacrifice on f6 was very good for white.
Wow. Okay, that's crazy. Yeah, that's cool because see, none of the website that I use to train tactics doesn't.
I played d5 in the regional championship. I played knight f6, e3, bishop e7. Okay, very easy play. I take the center, I develop my pieces, and then I castle, right? So I'm following the basic principles of the opening. Bishop d3. And now, after bishop d3, I decide to take on c4. My idea is that after that, I play c5. The question is, why do I play c5? What's the logic of this move?
Are you trying to open the d file?
Okay, but why is so important? I have the queen, but also white has the queen, so...
Well, is that the right idea, or that I'm guessing?
No, it's not the right idea, because
Okay.
if you open the d file, okay, it's good for black, but it's also good for white. So,
well, okay.
For sure, it's not like the main idea, right? Open the d file.
Okay, not the main idea. Well, you're wanting to trade that pawn, right?
Okay, but why?
Does it give your bishop a better square? Is like c5 a good square for your bishop? I don't know.
No, I think it's okay on e7.
Okay. Well, I was gonna guess like you're trying to move that pawn to c5, but it doesn't make it isolated, does it? Because it's no. Are you? Does it have something to do with weakening his structure, his pawn structure, or?
Could be, yes. This could be, yes. This could be... maybe white is not forced to weaken his structure, but yes, it's related with that. But not only. There are more ideas that now I'll show you to understand this topic. My advice is that all the time you see a game, if you maybe see online games or you see games of other players, it's very important every time ask why they play a move or why they play another move, because when we look at a game like that, it's very important for you understand the logic of the game. So for example, if I play this game against this player, the name of white is Pisacane, you must understand, okay, why black played that move. My first moves are, we can say, easy in principles, because I play d5, okay, I play to take the center, then I play e6 to defend my pawn.
Yes.
Then I play knight f6 to develop my knight, then I develop my bishop to the same reason, then I castle, and then I decide to take here. Also, the first question could be here, why do I take? In theory I can wait and I can develop my pieces. In this case I take because my idea is open a bit the position, but at the same time play the move c5 to fight for the center. So it's like that I attack the center with the a side pawn, right? So with the c5, trying to remove a central pawn, because we can say that the d4 pawn in general is a bit more important than the c pawn. So I try to fight for space using my c pawn to attack the d pawn. In theory, if white plays castle and I take, this trade is okay for me, because I trade my c pawn for the d pawn, and now white, we can say, has a difficult choice, because if white takes with a knight, we can be okay because we removed one important pawn from d4. If white takes on d4, if white takes with the pawn on d4, white can keep the pawn on d4, but now the pawn d4 is isolated, so it's not defended by other pawns, so it's a potential weakness. So it's like that white keeps his center, white keep his space, but to keep that, the white pawn would be weak. Is it clear, or?
Yeah, you give him an isolated pawn if he takes with the pawn. But
it's like that I give him two options. He can decide to keep a good structure, but in this case he must give up the center, so he must give up the pawn d4. Or if he wants to keep the pawn on d4, he must play with this structure that is a bit more weak.
Okay, so those are both bad options for him?
Yes, white can play both options, and both options are okay for white. so are playable for white, because if white plays knight takes d4 is we can say white has a better pawn structure. So I mean, yes, white has a better pawn structure, but at the same time, white has less option to make an attack in the future because white has less space.
Oh, okay.
If white takes with a pawn, white has a worse pawn structure, but this pawn gives more space. So for example, it's easier move the pieces, it's easier try to attack, and potentially the white can have an attack in a position like that. But at the same time, white has also a problem.
Because he has to defend that pawn, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. It's a bit complex, but the point is that both options are available for him. It depends by the position that you like to play.
Yeah. So this is, but isn't so c5? I mean, that's the reason why the Sicilian is played, right? So that you can trade
Yes,
a
a
wing
similar
pawn for the
idea.
center
Yes,
pawn.
yes, correct. Yes, you're right. And also in that case, then maybe white has maybe more space, but you can try to attack then upon e4. Yes, it's like the same idea. Yes, to trade the c pawn for the d pawn. Yes, in general, is a similar idea.
Okay, so
So now, for example, my opponent took. I think it took on c5.
uh-huh.
And now there is the topic that I said before. So imagine which piece is better in this square.
For black or for white?
No, for black, I mean. Okay, I think if you bring the bishop there, it's not very useful because there is like a wall against this bishop, so...
Okay. Yeah, I've heard that before. So what should go there? Maybe a knight?
Yes, and for this reason I didn't took the pawn immediately, but I played first knight a6.
Oh, okay.
So I see white can't defend this pawn, so I'll have time to take this pawn ladder. And I know that the knight in that square can be better than the bishop, so I take this pawn ladder with a knight.
Oh, wow, okay.
Okay, it's like in the exercise because number 4, if you like, you can take the pawn immediately.
Yeah.
But you don't take the pawn immediately because you know that in that square it's better have a knight. So
Yeah.
you go knight e4 and then knight f6.
Okay.
In the exercise now it's easier because knight f6 looks much stronger, right? Because you have an immediate attack, so maybe it's easier now understand the move knight e4 because you have a move. You can understand that the move knight f6 will be really strong. In the game that I played is a bit more advanced because maybe you can imagine that the knight is a bit better on c5, but I don't think in your mind you see a big difference if you have the bishop on c5 or you have the knight on c5.
Well, I mean, you explain since his pawn chain is on the dark squares, it doesn't make sense to have the dark square bishop on that square,
Yes,
right? Yeah.
yes, correct. You're right. So that's the reason. But in this case, it's like very, very little detail. In the exercise, having knight on n6 makes a very big difference because the knight on n6 can completely destroy the black position and force black to give back the material, give back the rook for the knight. But the idea is similar, so the idea is that.
Okay.
Okay, we can move on to c number 5. Now, yes, this is a good. You play the queen g6 because you win the knight and always the pin.
Yeah, the mighty pin.
Yeah, so number 6. Now you play knight g7. Then king takes.
And then you just take the knight, right?
Yeah, so you win the pawn and at the same time you weaken the king. So yes, it's perfect. Well done. Let's see number 7. You play knight e5. And if I take your knight, what do you play now?
Oh, I have this figured out. Well, I guess I didn't count the pawns though. It's, 7 versus 7, 8. So yeah, do I just win a pawn if
How?
I take with the queen?
No, but wait. You played knight takes
Oh
c5.
wait, no, sorry. Yeah, never mind. So no, his G pawn is pinned, right? So I can take the knight.
Yes, you're right. So in this
Yeah,
way you can win a pawn, right?
yeah.
Number 8, you played queen g6. Yes, the queen is good because there is always this pin. What happens if I play knight f6? To save my
Uh,
knight? Yes, you're right. So this, and you win a piece. Very well. Okay, perfect. So it's good. And do you have questions about the exercise, or do you think are clear?
no, I feel pretty good about that. I think overall, I think tactics I feel more comfortable with. Because I that's like the one thing I do every day is just I do tactics puzzles. So
Okay, now I want to show something about your last games. And we will go to see some positions. For example, this game you played with black,
yes.
and white played d4, you played d5, and white played c4. Usually when you play black, when they play c4, what do you play with black against c4?
Didn't we just see this in your game? It's a Queen's Gambit declined.
Yeah. Okay. Why do you play this move?
To defend your pawn.
Okay. But the question is, the pawn is defended by the queen, right? Do you need the knight to defend it?
Uh, well,
Or not? So I don't know. Let's think about it. So you need.
but do you want? Isn't the queen a bad defender?
Yes,
Like you don't want to
yes.
have to. Yeah.
Yes, you're right. Usually the queen is not a great defender, so it's not very good to have the queen as a defender. But in general, the move knight f6 is mistake.
Oh, okay.
Is mistake for one reason. The reason is that when you play, why do you play d5?
Oh, well, is it to trade on the center
Okay,
or
to
is it
occupy the center, right?
to occupy the center? Okay. Yeah.
So if white plays c4 and you play knight
Yeah.
f6, the problem is that white will trade.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and then you lose the center.
Now you have to take.
Yeah,
Now I push.
and then you lose the tempo.
And you must go, I don't know, back. I
Yeah.
develop my pieces. And you understand that it's not a great idea for you because white has a strong center.
Yeah.
White will develop the pieces very well. And you have, I think, nothing for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not. I haven't studied that opening at all, which is bad. I mean, it's like one of the most common openings, right?
Yeah, but it's not a
Queen's
problem
Gambit.
of it's
Yeah.
not a problem of studying the opening. It's the problem of understanding the topic of the. It's like that you don't need to study the opening. You must work in order to understand a bit better the principles of the opening and the technique like that,
Ah.
so because even if you study that in the theory, you must play e6. Let's say you open a book and the book will say now you must play e6, knight c3, knight f6. When you play
Mhm.
real game, it can happen very often that maybe you play knight f6 first. Why?
Okay.
Because you understand the purpose of the moves. So now your main goal must be not to know the moves, but understand the logic.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
So in theory now you can play e6, you can play c6, you can play a move to defend your pawn. For example, in my game, if you remember my
You,
game, I played d6 for example.
okay.
So for sure, e6 is a good option, but also c6 can be another option that you can play. In my game, for example, I played something like that, like something like e6.
Hmm.
Why? Because if white takes, I don't take with the queen, but I take with the pawn.
Yeah, and you have the center still.
Yeah, and then you can develop the knight, the bishop, and the castle, and then you are okay with that. So white didn't take, so at the end was very similar. Ah yes, and now you lost a piece in this way.
Oh.
Even if at the end, ah yes, then you lost the queen.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that. Yeah, it's not a very flattering game for me.
Okay, yes, but the main topic I think about strategy is that, so that when you play knight f6, pay attention about this topic, because for sure you play the Sicilian, knight f6, a6, e5, bishop g4. I have one question for you. Why did you play bishop g4 now?
I don't know. When I do when I play games, I usually do like the post game analysis, which I mean, it tells you like what like the best move would have been in a given situation, and a lot of times I see like this pin idea on the knight. But I guess here it probably wasn't the right decision in this
Okay.
context.
I have another question. For example, why do you play here the move a6?
Well, it's to keep the knights from going to b5, right? Or the bishop, the white squared bishop, right?
Okay, I have a question. Let's say I don't play this move and I play, I don't know, g6.
Uh-huh.
What's the problem if the bishop go here?
What's the problem? For black
Yes.
or for white?
No, I mean for black, because you say that you played a6 to stop that, right?
Yes.
So I don't stop it.
Okay.
Why can't play it?
Yeah, now you have to defend it either with your knight or bishop.
Okay, I play the bishop.
Okay. And he takes, right?
Okay, take with the knight.
And is that good for white?
No. The point is different. The point is different. The point is that my advice is that every time you study something,
Uh-huh.
we must work to understand every move. If we cannot understand every move, will be useless study.
Oh, okay.
So it's like that. I think we talked also about that last time. It's like that. Even if a6 is the best move,
Mm-hmm.
if I don't understand the move, probably it's much better play something else.
Yeah, I remember you. Okay, yeah, because you asked me this with the Rui Lopez. Yeah, and so the point was to put pressure on. Well, yeah, to basically put pressure on e5, right?
Do you mean
When you play bishop b5, right?
Yes, correct. Yes, in that case.
So a6 is the idea is more than just keeping the knights and bishops from going to b5.
Yes, because it's useless. Well, if the knight go to b5, it's completely useless this move. Because if you play, I don't know, I'm playing a bad move, okay? If I play h6, it's a waste of time. But if the knight go to b5, okay, what's the problem? Play a6 later. Why should I play for a6 before?
Is it to avoid the check?
In this case, I have another question.
Yeah.
Do you think it's better the white bishop or the black bishop?
Oh, black's bishop. I don't know.
Because with the check, I
What?
propose the trade. So I mean, why
Okay.
should?
Yeah.
So give. I wait. I understand. The point is that even if there is a check, in chess is we can say nothing, right?
Okay.
Because in chess is really important the checkmate.
Yeah.
If it's
Yeah.
checkmate, is very important. If the move is check, is like okay, is nothing the check. Check I cover, right? So if
Uh-huh.
white plays bishop b5, it's true. I'm forced to cover. That's true. But at this
Yes.
point, the real question is not if we check or not. The real question is the trade is good for white or is good for black? The trade of the white bishop. Because if the trade is good for white, can make sense play e6 to avoid a good trade for him.
Okay.
If the
Yeah.
trade is good for black, I don't have any reason to block a trade that can be good for me, right? That's the
Yeah.
point.
So I'm trying to figure out why. Well, I'm guessing because I know A6 is the Najdorf, right? Everyone, like, people play this a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah,
So
a6 is
so
the right move. Yes,
there
is
must
the
yeah. So the trade must be better for white then. To
no, no, no. The trade is good for black.
really? Oh,
Yes.
okay. Okay. So yeah. So what is the logic behind A6 then? Is it to prepare B5 or I mean?
Could be for two reasons, two different reasons. Sometimes when you play the Najdorf, black can have two ideas. One idea could be play b5, how you said. So this move a6 can help you to play b5.
Okay.
And sometimes, not always, but sometimes you can also play e5. And when you play e5, maybe it's important to stop the knight there because it can attack the weakness. When you play the Sicilian, and when white plays d4, so we're playing the open Sicilian, we can say that white has only one central pawn, that is the pawn e4.
Okay.
So the strategy when you play with black, the Sicilian, is make pressure against this pawn.
Okay.
So the plan a6 b5 can be connected with the idea to make more pressure against this pawn on e4.
Oh, okay.
Because then you can develop the bishop, you can maybe develop this knight there, and then I don't know if you can follow my errors. Maybe it's a bit difficult, but
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, you free up B7 for the white square bishop, and you can put more pressure on his.
yes, correct, very well. So
And then okay, um, so these are the ideas, but then I mean, of course, you always have to. I mean, you kind of have to react to what white does, though, right? I mean,
yes, correct. If white makes problems, you must understand if it's like that. You must understand if it's time to continue with your plan, or if it's time to defend against the enemy plan.
okay,
So let's say you play black, you play e6, for example, g3. Okay, in the game you play the e5, and then the question is, should I play, for example, b5, bishop b7, or should I play bishop g4?
I'm guessing it's not bishop g4.
I don't think it's a big mistake, but I think b5 looks more logical to attack the pawn, and also
Yeah.
because playing b5, sometimes you can also threaten b4.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You can develop the bishop, you can castle kingside. And this knight on b8 sometimes can go to c5 to hand more pressure against the pawn.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that all makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, okay, when you study the Sicilian in theory, there are also other strategies that you can play with black, for sure. But I think
Yeah.
this can be one good strategy that you can have when you play with the Najdorf, and it could be a good goal for you, try to attack the pawn e4. So,
Okay. Well, could I ask you something?
sure, tell me.
So when I play games as black, e4, c5, white usually doesn't go for the Najdorf. They usually do some other variation that I'm not familiar with. So, like a lot of times, Smith Mora gambit, and like it's crazy how many times I lose to that.
Yeah, because the point is that the Najdorf is the most common opening for very strong players. So if you see a game of Magnus Carlsen, maybe also Magnus Carlsen sometimes play the Najdorf, is with white, is with black, right?
Yeah.
And when you usually to become a very strong player, I mean strong player like a grandmaster,
Yeah.
is also very important study the champion games, right? So the game of Magnus Carlsen, the games of Fischer, the
Yeah.
games of
So
Kasparov, etc. Right?
yeah, so I watch a lot of videos like that. Like I'm sure you've heard of St. Louis Chess Club.
Yes, yes.
They do a lot of series like the games of Paul Morphy explained or the games of Kramnik explained, and so I watch those a lot. And it helps me understand it. But it's like it's only that one game, and every chess game's different, right? So like, I mean, um, I'm trying to like make more generalizations, I guess. Like,
Yeah, okay, we can say that the point that at this stage maybe even if you see the games of Kasparov or Paul Morphy, baby, the problem is that at the moment you cannot completely appreciate it because are too complicated.
okay,
What I mean that is like the first you must understand, for example, the logic of the openings, the logic of the middle game, the basic knowledge about that, and later when you will see those games, maybe can understand more.
uh huh,
Uh, but what I'm saying is that
yeah,
then you take
and you're supposed to take, yeah, right, oh,
and they play, for example, the Smith War Gambit,
okay,
or let's say they play C3.
yeah,
It's the
the
opposite
Alapin,
variation.
yeah.
And what do you play in this case if they play C3?
I watched a video with Perelstein, and he said his favorite response is G6, so I tried doing that.
Okay, let's see G6. I play
Yeah,
D4.
and then take.
I take.
And he said that you have to fight for the D5 square in this with this opening.
Mm-hmm.
So I forget what his move order was, but I think his idea was to get white to double the pawns on the D file. So I think he played D5 immediately.
Okay. Then you mean I take it, right? You mean this?
Yeah, and then from there I can't remember the order, but I mean he put his at some point got his bishop on a G7, his knight on F6, his knight on and then his knight on
And
D7.
can you explain me the logic of this opening that you started? So if you have to explain me why Perlstein, this grandmaster, showed me this. So what's the logic of the opening that you're playing with black?
Well, I guess first of all, I guess it kind of disrupts white's center to start with, but then his whole idea is to mount a knight on D5. He says because it's a really good spot for the knight, and he shows like step by step like his thought process for like why he.
And why do you think he suggested you to play G6? So why, for example, why usually do you play the Nandorf in this case? I don't know. He's saying to play Bishop G7.
Is it to control the diagonal, the long diagonal?
Okay, yes, you're right. But there is also a specific reason for that.
Is it to prevent E5?
Maybe not to prevent, because to be honest, after this, the other line
Yeah.
could be also E5 now.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Never mind. Okay.
Probably, I think we'll talk about that. He can, White can also play E5.
Yeah.
So in theory, you don't prevent that with the Bishop G7.
There's got to be. I'm trying to think outside the box. It's probably like a couple of moves ahead, right? Like you're trying to do something.
Okay, let's see if he takes. If he takes, what could be the reason of play G6?
Well,
So
so you can attack his backward pawn, or
yeah, because the point is that probably in the video he will say you that you will take this pawn, and later maybe this bishop can be good to attack this pawn on d4.
yeah.
This could be the logic about that.
And well, in that specific example, his opponent played d6 to trade the pawn, or he
Yeah,
just
that's the main line. But to be honest, for you, I don't think it's so useful go so in deep to study the opening. In general, but you can use this logic also for other positions because. So, for example, try to remember, I studied the game or the video of Perlstein in which it told me to play g6 followed by d5, so d4, d4, d5.
Mm-hmm.
And probably he said that the move order is very important because if you play bishop g7 first, after knight c3, d5 becomes impossible because the knight will take.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's very important to choose the right move order correctly. So with d5, because later play d5 would be difficult. And the logic is that when your opponent has a strong center, it's very important try to undermine his center.
Okay.
So that's the logic of the game.
Yeah.
It's like my game against Pisakan is the same because when white has a strong center, I must work to undermine his center. In order to undermine, I played c5.
Okay.
In this case, you play d5, for example, in order to attack his center. If you like, when they play against you the Mora Gambit,
yeah,
you can also play d5, I think.
Oh. Okay.
What's the logic? The logic is you refuse the Gambit, so you don't accept its sacrifice.
Yes.
And the idea is that after e takes d5, in this case you can also take with the queen, to play against this pawn that is isolated.
Okay.
That's the logic of this game, and then you can develop the knight, and you can also develop the other knight to attack the pawn. So you can play a game in which you don't accept the pawn, and you can play against this structure.
Okay.
In theory, you can do the same with the Alapin, because after c3 you can also play, if you want, d5. Okay, you can also play like you said, but that's also possible. The bishop on g7 can help you to attack the weakness d4.
Oh, okay, but yeah, only in this position though, obviously, because if he played
e5,
E5
is a bit different, yes.
Then you don't play g7 or bishop g7, do you? Not yet, or
you can
ever?
play it later.
Okay.
You usually first you develop this knight to make pressure against d4.
Oh
That
yeah.
is
So your
weakness.
idea is still to attack his weaknesses, and
Yeah, and sometimes you play bishop g7 followed by f6 to open this bishop. So it's like you play bishop g7, then f6
okay.
to open this bishop and attack the pawn d4. I also played this opening a few times in some games. Now maybe I can copy this. Opponent was I play around 2000s of rating. It's an official tournament, so it's like a game with the 90 minutes plus 30 seconds every move. So you have much time to think.
Yeah.
And I play like you said with g6. d5. In this game my opponent played d5, so knight c6. Because my idea is make pressure against this pawn. I make pressure because I'm attacking the defender.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And now he pins my knight.
And
then I played knight e6 because my idea was bring my knight to f5 to add pressure against this pawn. So
wow.
I develop, and at the same time I want to make pressure against that pawn. Now I think my opponent didn't play very well because he took my knight. I don't think it's a great idea because the bishop is stronger, I think.
Yeah.
And I took with my bishop, and then he played knight e2 to defend his knight on f3. I played castle. In this way my knight is free to take. So I'm threatening to take this pawn.
Yeah. Unpin.
He defend now because now he solved the problem with the pin, but now I play queen a5. And the idea is that I'm threatening to take the knight. He must take with the bishop, and then I can take the pawn. So, can you see the threat? So I'm threatening to take this knight.
Yeah, you're gonna take the defender?
You must take with the bishop, right? Because the knight is pinned.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And then I can take the pawn.
So in that, yeah, so your opponent already made a mistake then.
Yeah, and now the problem is that he cannot defend it, so I don't think he has a way to defend his pawn.
So the whole first, we're on move 10, and the idea the game is centered around just defending d4, or attacking and defending.
Yeah, for example, if he castle now,
Yeah.
I think I can take here. He must take with a knight, for example. I take here, and then I win the pawn again.
With tempo, right?
Yeah, because the queen is under attack, so...
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, my strategy was very easy. My idea was attack the pawn. Okay, for sure he made mistakes, because if white white can defend that pawn.
Yeah.
But the idea is make pressure, because, okay, it's not so easy. And it's also good because you make the white piece passive in order to defend the pawn d4. So,
okay. So, my question is, so in chess, like, your entire strategy is like incredibly specific, right? Like,
okay, so
because you're attacking d4 this whole game, and he's like trying to defend it, right? Like,
no, okay, we can. It's not like so simple, because for sure d4 is a target, but it's not only it's not the only idea that you have. So let's say you can defend this pawn, okay?
well,
Because,
yeah,
okay,
I mean, yeah, but, okay,
because let's say he plays a bit better and he
Okay.
defends that pawn. So I don't know. Let's say he plays bishop e3, you play knight f5, he castle, and now this pawn is defended.
yeah,
Let's say you'd play bishop g7, knight c3, so a normal game. So castle, I don't know, bishop e2 and something like that.
okay,
So the point is, okay, if the pawn is defended, then with black, what can I do? If the pawn d4 is defended, okay, white can defend, but maybe white pieces are a bit passive. Something new could be, I bring the rook on the c file, I can try to take more space on the queen side, and then try to attack other things like, I don't know, the pawn b2. So it's like that for sure d4 is always a target, but you
Yeah.
try to make pressure on a specific area, in this case, for example, the queen side.
okay. So my question is, if you attack b2, I mean, why doesn't he just play b3? Is it because it hangs?
Yeah, you're
does it-
right. Yeah, you're right. But when white plays b3, this square becomes a bit weak.
Oh, okay.
So my rook
Yeah,
on c8 will be stronger, or my rook can add more pressure. So it's like that you are playing to take very, very small advantage, and you increase slowly that.
Yeah, no, it's very similar to another game that I play. I don't know if you've ever heard of StarCraft or
When did you play it?
video game.